Hey, what is up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. So this is going to be the next review for Pink Floyd's discography, and if you hear sounds of car noises outside and some reverb, I apologize because this is my music room. So yeah, this is going to be the review on Pink Floyd's next studio album entitled The Dark Side of the Moon. So The Dark Side of the Moon came out in 1973, and it has been hailed to this day as one of the world's most iconic, very influential and one of the highest best-selling albums in music history. And this is the album that stayed in the charts the longest than any other album, from 1973 to 1988. That's just so damn insane, I know. Now, as much as I love this album, I think it's one of these overrated but good albums. So I will still listen to this album from time to time, but I wouldn't really call it one of the top best or greatest albums ever made. But since this album had been so important and very much loved by a lot of us, there's no other words or sentences that can be said to describe this album, because I think it's just going to be the same opinions, but it's one of these very iconic albums that anyone would like to talk about. From the iconic and beautiful artwork from Storm Thorgerson to the production, the instrumentation, anyone can go on how incredible the album is. It's almost 43 minutes of perfection. It has 10 tracks, and as I said from my previous review from Obscured by Clouds, Pink Floyd were getting ready and prepared to make the new material of The Dark Side of the Moon, and also Pink Floyd had been performing some of these new pieces from this album live before the album's completion. What can be said about this? A lot of words and just so many thoughts that anyone can really describe anybody how special this album means a lot to us. So the lyrical content on this album is very, very based on various topics, including mental illness to conflict and greed, and also the industry, and also some of these heavy references from Pink Floyd's former bandmate Syd Barrett. The album opens with the sound of the heartbeats to the separate dialogue voices and the sounds of money to clocks ticking, and then it magically flows into the track Breathe, or Breathe in the Air. Another great favorite from this album is the vocals, not only from both Waters or Gilmour's, but the harmonies on this album are just gorgeous. And Pink Floyd also brought in some female vocalists, including Claire Torrey, Doris Torrey, and Lisa Strike. Barry St. John. On the Run is another favorite of mine. It's just basically an instrumental that sounds very futuristic, and David Gilmour used a VCS3 synthesizer, and other musicians and bands have used it, like Pete Townsend to LCD Sound System, Kraftwerk, and Aphex Twin, so many more. You can go on. And I think the track, as I said, has like a futuristic sound to it, but more sampled pieces of voices go into the piece, and the explosion sound at the end of the piece, and also goes into the really loud ticking sound everywhere on the introduction to Time. And Richard Wright's vocals on this track, very, very good. The Great Gig in the Sky, which is absolutely beautiful, and the piano playing from Richard Wright. I never knew he was inspired by the album Kind of Blue from Miles Davis, which I adore. Claire's vocals, the way that she brings her vocals from these very sweet, smooth style of vocals to the screams, and to try and bring some power and terror and emotional sounds from her voice. It just exploded since her vocals came into the piece, and it's so damn incredible. Money is another one of the band's most iconic songs, and the saxophone playing as well is really, really great stuff. I do love the sound of saxophone from the instrumentation, and Dick Parry did a phenomenal job doing the saxophone work. And Us and Them is another favorite, if not my favorite song on this album, because I like the way it flows and progresses, the gentle sound from the verses and the exploding chorus. And it's so fascinating to hear such wonderful pieces of music that a band like Pink Floyd can do. And other tracks on this album, Any Color You Like, has like a very colorful, luscious sound from the keyboards as well. And there are elements of sound effects to the signature guitar solos from David Gilmour, and everything else from this album is sheer brilliance. And I really like how the album ends from Brain Damage to Eclipse, the last track on the album, as like a really huge finale to an album. And then you get to hear the heartbeat to finish the album off. And I think it's just clever that the album begins with the heartbeat and ends with the heartbeat. The production of this album is so damn incredible as well. Very, very clear sounds to the music, and it was so damn brilliant. And the album was recorded at Abbey Road Studios. I guess I am pretty much done from my thoughts and reasons why I think this album is just a gold mine of a release. And you know what this album rating is going to be for this. And I'm going to give The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd a 10 out of 10. And the next album I'm going to be reviewing is my all-time favorite Pink Floyd record, Wish You Were Here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.